Keep losing it.
There you go. Okay. That way.
We got to do it again.
Hurry up, Joe. You're on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. We see my people are used to this. All right, my people are used to Joe kind of having to struggle. I can't believe how much this, am I putting this on backwards? Yes, I am. That's part of the problem. There we go.
Normally we'd have elves here helping, but they are busy packing stuff up.
They are very busy.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, well, welcome to the Tiki Hut Central podcast. This is my friend Ken Rose on the other side.
Hey, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and everything else in between.
Ho, ho, ho.
Joe, who is this next to us?
This obviously is Mrs. Claus. We're very glad to have
Good
it.
morning.
Mrs. Claus,
Good morning.
thank you so much for making some time for us. I know that this is a very busy time of year for you, and it's
busy.
hard, but we really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
We have some questions from kids. We have some questions from some moms. So they're all clean. So we don't have any bad questions.
Okay,
but,
good.
we'll
keep
do
it
have
clean
some
for the
questions
kids.
from some moms who would like your perspective as a woman who, in her own right, I'm sure you're helping run the shop.
Yep, it takes a team for sure.
Okay, so my wife wants to know, actually, we were having this conversation. Santa Claus is obviously not just very generous, but he's got to be a really good businessman, right?
Right.
And I mean, he's very well known. I'm sure people are seeking after him all the time. But like so many big men, you're just as famous as he is because
Am I?
he's the one getting the credit, but
Good.
you are certainly part of the brand. You know,
Yes.
give us an insight of some of the kind of things you have to do to make sure he gets to where he's got to go.
Right. Well, I am basically the peacemaker because we have so many different personalities and elves, so many things going on all the time, and I have to make sure that everyone stays happy. So when everyone stays happy, that's when things get done.
That's a great perspective. I never even thought of that. So you take care of all the elf HR complaints? I mean,
Yes.
how do you guys say? You don't fire anybody, do you? I mean, there's not much work for elves out there.
No, because if we fire somebody up north, where are they going to go?
Right,
They're going
right.
to freeze to death. So
Well,
we have to make it
actually,
work.
they could go to Keebler. I believe Keebler and the cookies.
Keebler That's a culture shock. I mean, kind of an adjustment, right?
They aren't baked by elves.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a different kind of elf. Do you have? I'm not even going to go there. Never mind. Okay, let's start with the questions. Okay, now we're going to blow through some of these questions pretty quick because Mrs. Claus only has limited time. She was very generous to come and do this for us, and she has to get back up north to help Santa get ready because, I mean, really, we're 4 days away, 5 days
Yes.
away?
Like 4 days away from Christmas. Holy cow.
I'm sure you got to I'm sure he works so hard, you got to make sure he eats so he doesn't get hangry.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a hangry Santa, right?
Right.
Okay. First question.
Yeah.
Do the elves live at the North Pole or do they commute from somewhere else?
The elves, no, they live at the North Pole. They have to live at the North Pole because we have so many projects going on all year round. So we don't have to necessarily scrunch everything together at the last minute like we do now before Christmas. But all year long, we have to be at the North Pole working, especially now with all the technology down here.
Sure, it's crazy.
There's so much technology. So we've really had to up our game with figuring out all these techie games that the kids want now. So we've had to reinvent ourselves quite a bit in the last few years.
Wow. So you provide housing. That's great.
Yes,
Great.
we
You
have
probably
to.
provide medical too, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, that's a benefit package.
Yes.
Right, I guess so. All those ladders they climb and
That's
stuff.
better than retirement, man. If I had somebody paying for my housing, I'd have plenty of money for retirement. Right? Go ahead, Ken. Let's get a couple of your questions down.
Well, actually, my first question, Mrs. Claus did us a big favor coming out today. And one of Mrs. Claus's best friends works here in Claremont. So, Mrs. Claus, why don't you give a shout out for Regina and tell us what Regina does in the community. She's a good friend of yours, so why don't you go give a plug for your friend Regina?
Yes. Oh, thank you, Ken. That's beautiful. So, yes, my very good friend, Regina Cruz Morales, is a realtor with Keller Williams Realty. Not only is she a realtor, she also is the president of the Kiwanis Club of South Lake and the Women's Giving Alliance this year. She loves helping out in the community anytime, and her biggest gift is to find a need and fulfill it, whether that's connecting people together or finding something that somebody needs and just providing it for them.
Nice. What's your favorite part about Christmas?
I just love having the friends and the family come together and share special moments. You know, you have the extra parties, you have the extra meals, all the really good Christmas appetizers, all the cookies, and watching all those fun Christmas movies, The Christmas Story,
With
Home
the cookies,
Alone,
right?
yes, and the eggnog. And I know for the Hispanics, the coquito, that's a really yummy drink if you
Hang
haven't
on.
tried it.
You gotta tell us. What I've seen this all over Facebook. I've
Oh,
seen people selling it in the Facebook marketplace.
Yes.
What is coquito?
Well, it's very similar to eggnog. It does have rum in it.
Oh,
Is that the difference?
Yeah,
at Taking Up Central, there's always rum.
There's always
Yes.
rum.
it is amazing.
Yeah.
Coquito is probably one of my favorite drinks for the holidays.
So is it cold? Is it hot? I mean, tell me about coquito.
Cold.
It's cold.
Cold, yep. Because it has a lot of dairy in it.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes
So
sense.
it has a lot of dairy in it, yeah. So you do drink it cold. It's very yummy. If you haven't tried it, definitely go on Facebook, look somebody up, and they can
I
get
tried. They keep wanting to send me private messages. I'm like, what is there a big secret to it? What's
Well,
You gotta be
I
in the
mean,
club.
some people make
Nobody
it
wants
better
to be
than others.
and
you
I'm
know.
wondering if nobody wants to be tracked down by, the alcohol division of the state. You know? Are you selling alcohol online?
They'll be looking for you, Joe.
Merry ho ho.
Now, obviously, you and Santa have been together a long, long time. So how did you first meet? Because there was no Match.com or anything like that. That's not a plug. So how did you and Santa meet?
Santa and I met, yes, it was a very, very long time ago. So we just met through friends, and we had great references from our friends, and they brought us together, and it was love at first sight.
Nice.
That's old school matchmaking.
That
right
is. Now you look fantastic. Now,
No, thank you.
You and Santa always look top notch. So do you folks have multiple red suits, or do the elves dry clean them every day? I mean, what's the procedure for keeping you and Santa looking sharp at all times?
Or is this just your Christmas uniform? I mean, are you guys like
What do you have, like
smoking
regular?
hot at the beach down at South Beach? Like in the summer, sporting the tan and all the speedos and everything.
Well,
No,
we
give us
have
the inside
we have a lot of outfits, different outfits for all occasions for sure. This is the traditional outfit, so when we come down and talk to you fine folks, this is what we like to appear as, and we have multiple suits.
Nice.
And the elves make probably weekly different suits for us for different occasions in the month of December. So, yeah, I mean, we have those fun pajamas that you guys like to wear, and you take all those fun holiday pictures
Oh yeah.
in those pajamas. We have a lot of those.
I never thought of that. Santa would have his own set, wouldn't he?
I got 4 onesies at the house for everybody.
Or onesies.
actually
I don't know how we go to the restroom, but we're all wearing onesies.
I actually have a question. Now, most of the questions that I have were provided by my wife's Florida Virtual School teacher friends. She's a Florida Virtual
Yay
School
to the
teacher.
teachers.
Yay to teachers.
And they're on vacation for like 3
You're
weeks.
awesome.
If you're Florida Virtual School, it's only 2. So,
Oh, 2? No. But it's virtual, so
It's
how do they know if
virtual,
you're there or
right?
not? It's virtual.
Oh, they know. Trust me. Anyways, they want to know. One of these kids wants to know: does Santa really lose all his? Back to my South Beach question, sporting a speedo. Does Santa really lose all his weight after New Year's Day and then start gaining it all back after Thanksgiving? Is Santa like on metformin? I mean, is this guy like chunky all year long? What's the deal? Is the suit kind of padded and hiding a bunch of muscle? Give us a scoop here.
Well, Santa and I both, we like to go on some sort of diet or watch what we're eating plan after the New Year starts for sure. Because if we ate after Thanksgiving till the end of the year all year long, we probably wouldn't be able to move very well. So, you have to maintain a little bit of health throughout the year so that you have the energy to finish the year strong. So yeah, we're constantly busy making toys, playing with the elves, different games. We make our own games and play and have fun and all that great stuff. So we keep active.
Good.
You know,
yeah, that makes sense.
And we can do jumping jacks and push-ups and sit-ups and have little relays if we want. We have lots of space up north. So yeah, we keep active and we just have to watch what we eat throughout the year.
A lot of workplace sort of exercise regimen.
Yes, yes. We don't have like all these sitting jobs like down here. There's a lot of desk jobs.
Well,
like Ken and I.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, when he's in his print shop, oh my gosh.
Are you running around in your print shop?
It's crazy. I need elves here. So on the 26th, send them my way.
I'll see what I can do.
My other question, all the way up to the North Pole, do you folks get pizza delivered?
Well, it's too far for people to travel up there. However, we do make it ourselves.
Do you have a favorite pizza?
Oh, I like all types of pizza.
Okay.
I like sausage and pepperoni and
whatever you can put on it.
Yes.
All right.
The supreme pizza.
And we know Santa likes it anyway.
Is there anything Santa doesn't like?
He's not very picky. Thank God. He's not very picky.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, I question that apparently is very important to be answered. My wife made sure I was going to answer this question, if nothing else. What is your favorite wine to drink while you're wrapping all those gifts? Apparently, there are a lot of Florida virtual school teachers who need alcohol when maybe they're preparing to be with their family, right? We all have that in-law, right?
Well,
they can come, but I better be down a bottle by the time they get here.
I love all kinds of different beverages, like alcoholic, non-alcoholic. I like them all. During the holiday season, I do like me some coquito. I do like the coquito. It puts me in the holiday spirit. Tastes very good. It's got a lot of cinnamon and other spices in there. Wine, I would say I'm the type of person, whatever wine you like, I will share a glass with you.
Oh, that's very Christmassy of you, actually.
Yes, if you like red wine, let's have red wine, because I like all of the wines.
That's kind of cool.
Hey, how do you and Santa tell the naughty kids from the good kids?
We go a lot off of how they treat their parents.
Okay.
So if the children are not obeying their parents, if they're not listening to their parents, then that is one way that we decide if they're being naughty or nice.
Oh, okay. So there you go, kids. So treat your parents kindly, treat them with respect, and you may get a little gift from the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness and respect, that's kind of like the nature of being good.
And the holiday season.
It's not just in the holiday season, right? I mean,
all
because
the
you
time.
guys are chicken year round. You don't just start looking at Thanksgiving, right?
All the time.
You're not going to fall for that scam.
Right.
Or suddenly it's time for gifts and I'm going to be good for 2 weeks, right?
Right.
You've got to be good at the end of
Well,
January.
and if you think about it, if you're naughty all year, how easy is it to turn nice for 4 weeks?
Yeah, not.
It's not that easy. So you have to be a good person so that by the end of the year, you still end up being a good person.
Kindness and respect.
Correct.
There's actually, Joe knows Tiki Hut Central, brought to you by Ken and Joe, real life lessons.
Hey, obviously you're in the North Pole. So did your friend Regina help you locate your workshop and up there? I mean, did she fly up there? Did you take her in a sleigh? How did Regina get to the North Pole to show you guys some property? Unless there's an agent up there.
Well, I've been around for much longer than Regina's been around.
Right. Because you're you're 29 plus.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
I've been around for a very long time.
But you do travel a lot. You and Santa do travel, and you're in Florida.
We do travel quite a bit, for sure. I would say back in the day, I did have a good friend that helped us find our house up in the North Pole. So that was a huge blessing, for sure. Regina could have done a fine job had she been up there at the time, but it was a different person that helped us find our housing. And it's a huge, huge warehouse with the home, has a fireplace. We keep it quite warm because it's very cold up there.
Well, hell yeah.
You know, so
I even have my earmuffs in case I get
lots
invited
of
up.
blankets, lots of layers all the time we put on. So, yeah,
All right.
through friends. Friends are great.
Through connections.
You know,
Yes.
and then again, and those of you that follow Ken and I, or will be following Ken and I, we're both realtors. Or Ken's actually a broker. I'm a realtor. You know, Lisa at the Brand Squad
She's a realtor.
And so we don't come at this, Regina's a realtor, we don't come at this from a zero-sum game. We believe if we help each other, we all get what we need. So it's really cool that you said that.
Mhm.
That she's, we really appreciate Regina and what she does around here. You
Sure,
know?
it's important. How come you guys still drive a sleigh? Why not a jet, a helicopter? Why always a sleigh?
Or has the sleigh been upgraded?
That is a really good question. It is quite cold in the open air with the sleigh. Maybe we should consider a jet. Yes, we would get around quite faster.
Because
gosh.
Santa's a traditionalist, though. He's going
He
to fight
is,
you on that,
yeah.
isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, we are quite traditionalists, so that is why we stick to our guns, and it works.
Right.
We know it works, and we get the job done that way. I will definitely talk to him about that.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposed to be comfortable plush seats.
Yeah.
So,
I have a really interesting question. This one comes from a kid. Mrs. Claus, and I will quote, "Oh, Mrs. Claus, is your house like ours? Santa thinks he's the CEO, but you really do all the work."
Wow.
I wonder if that came from a young lady.
Yes. She is correct. She is correct.
there you
Yeah.
He gets all the press and all the attention. You're just making
Yes.
sure it all works
Yep.
smoothly.
Yep.
So
Just smooth everything over.
leads me to another question. You guys been married, for a long time,
Mhm.
right? I know Miss Pat and I have been together 40 years. We
Yeesh.
still have some conflicts. How do you guys? Are you guys like that? Perfect, never fight, never get fussy about anything, or do you ever have a conflict? I mean, do you disagree on how to discipline an elf sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, we always have little disagreements. It doesn't last very long. But we always come up with a solution and focus on the main goal.
Is he a wise husband? I mean, does he
Yes.
say yes, ma'am, when he realizes that he's
Yes.
always wrong?
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you're married that long, you have to be a wise husband.
Yes.
right.
Happy wife,
Honor
happy
and
life.
obey.
Yeah. Like we say, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, it's true. That's the story of my house. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
Yeah.
So my earlier question, but before we went on air, was how do you tell the elves apart? Because there's a lot of them, and they all kind of
Mhm.
look they're similar.
Well, it's kind of
Yeah,
like
really.
Is there a rule of thumb?
Didn't you? You did not just about to say.
Stop it. That's for another show, Joe.
That's for another show.
well,
we
it's
can
kind
get
of
HR on you, Ken.
Oh God.
Oh.
All right, well, maybe
Okay.
let's just gloss
I like
over
it.
that.
How do you tell them
question then.
apart?
well, it's kind of like down here. I mean, I can tell you guys apart
Right. Oh, yeah, I guess
because
so.
your voices,
Right.
Yeah.
your eye color,
Okay.
people like what they wear. They have their outfits, and then one thing that we love to do is put their names on their elf outfits.
Well, that
Oh,
helps.
yeah. That makes
So
sense.
everyone has a
A
name,
name band.
like you can, like you, Joe. So
Gotcha.
then we
okay.
just put the names on the elf outfits, and that's very simple.
I
and
guess
easy.
like some are cool, some are socially awkward, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we're-
everything. We have all
Shame on us.
kinds of elves up north.
Elves are people.
Joe, we are
too.
going off the rail right now. We gotta really do it a bit.
Ooh, really bad.
What's the most stressful part of the season for you? Because I know you got to be in multiple places, and you're always helping the elves.
Yeah, I would say probably fulfilling all of the orders, especially at the last minute. Fulfilling all the orders, getting everything organized, so then we can get it distributed. That's probably the most stressful, and keeping everyone happy at the end when it's crunch time.
You know all about that, Ken.
It's been crunch time all month. I got an order today for Christmas cards. Really, it's like Tuesday. So.
Yeah.
A public service announcement I'd like to bring up, because I know Mrs. Claus and Santa always try to get every child a gift, and you have to remember, kids, if you're watching the show, they have a lot of gifts to do for a lot of kids. So some gifts even come from your parents. because they can't fulfill every gift. So,
Yes.
keep that in mind. Your parents help Santa because they communicate with Santa on a regular basis about the gifts that you may want, and they try to come up with, gifts that you'll be happy with, but they can't always fulfill every wish that you may have. And that does not mean that you're naughty. It just simply means that there are just not enough of those particular gifts.
And and
Right.
I've got to say, I love your husband. I've been a friend of his for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the thing that's really cool about him is that he is as much of a mindset as he is a person, and I know he loves to be that. Is that it's back to the kindness that you talked about. If you treat people with kindness, and kids, there's some kids out there that aren't as fortunate as you. And I know that Mrs. Claus and Santa work with a lot of great organizations right here locally. They work with Kiwanis, Christmas Across South Lake, to make sure other people are getting deliveries from your husband. You have a lot of little helpers here.
Yes. Thank you to this community. It's been amazing, all of the helpers that have distributed gifts to the children this year. It's been incredible.
And that's really how they get toys out, with elves in different communities that pitch in and coordinate all that stuff. And they've been phenomenal. I mean, Kiwanis and the Flockers and Charity Across South Lake and on
Business
and
leaders.
business leaders,
The
and
Elks
Chamber of
Club
the Elks
and-
Club, and
Mhm.
all of those people, while they're not elves, they've been taught by the elves. So
Yes. They have the same Christmas
they have
spirit.
the same Christmas spirit, which is what today's all about.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Christmas elf in all of us, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Don't do it.
I'm going
Can
to
you
hell.
see how our podcast is going to look right now? I mean, can you just imagine?
Well, we do know that Mrs. Claus has to get
Right? I was just going to say.
back out to the sleigh, so we got her for like 30 minutes. So, we certainly.
Any more questions?
Okay, quick.
Oh,
do you
golly.
get any live questions? Did you have anything come up?
Nothing came up live, probably because most kids are sleeping because there's no school. So,
No,
so 10
possible.
o'clock on a weekday when there's no school.
and mine is way over there. So if you had a question, I'm sorry. I will
Joe can't
forward
see
it to Mrs. Claus later, and
Joe
I'll
has asked for
answer it.
binoculars.
I will give you a DM to answer that question. Let me see if there's any.
I've got two
here.
questions.
All right, let me get one. What is your favorite color? I guess it's safe to say is that red.
Red,
So
yeah.
Red and green. Let's see. Let's get a grown up question. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Our family does like to watch The Christmas Story with Ralphie.
Oh yeah, that's a
Oh.
good one. That's
Yeah.
a classic. Tongue
Yeah.
stuck on the rail
Yes.
is my favorite because I did that. As a kid.
I can see you doing
that,
that.
Anybody else not
believe
do
that.
that?
I can see you doing
I
that.
dare you.
100% believe that.
What state were you in when you did that?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
It was
Oh yeah,
cold.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so.
That's
funny.
like North Pole South.
Yeah, that's it. It is.
It really is.
North Pole South.
I don't really have a favorite Christmas movie. I mean, Elf is super funny. Elf is super funny. But, Ralphie with a gun, but now you can't get guns for Christmas because there's other stuff going on.
Mine has always been It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, great movie.
Because when I was a kid, when I was in high school, and things were kind of weird in my house, like teenagers' lives get. But my house was a little weird in the '70s. My family was not a big fan of Christmas. I mean, they kind of dreaded it because of lack of money and all that other stuff. It was before I learned it wasn't about money. But the movie It's a Wonderful Life really kind of went a long way to giving me my love for Christmas today. That and Scrooge. The transformation of Scrooge at the end, the Christmas magic, the love of Christmas, clicking in and going, wow, this is about transformation. It's not about getting stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's beautiful.
Awesome.
you got any more questions?
What's your favorite cookie to bake up in the
Yes, so my favorite cookie is actually to do the cutout cookies.
Okay, so you
And-
do all the fancy shapes.
Yeah, the
Okay.
fancy shapes, because then you get to decorate them all.
So you like the sugar cookies, gingerbread cookies? that
Yes.
kind of
Do
stuff.
you do
The
gingerbread,
sugar-
sugar? You
The
do 'em
sugar
all.
cookies
Just
with
as long as they have
the,
a shape, right?
with the white frosting, and then decorate them all fun.
You must have the coolest antique cookie cutters.
Yeah,
Like back when they were good.
Yeah. we have some really good cookie cutters up north.
Get a
Yeah.
cookie cutter today, you put it in the drawer, you put it in the box, you pull it out next year. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah, it's all messed up.
It's
Yeah,
messed up.
you
You
shove
gotta
it
go
in the
buy
drawer.
new ones.
You need to ask the elves for some good ones.
Some
then.
good ones.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask. I'll have to put that on my Christmas list for next year. I'm pretty set this year.
My last question is what does Mrs. Claus do on her off time?
Right. So after Christmas is over, then I do love to just kind of veg out and watch movies and sit by the fire and really not do much of anything.
Wow.
And Santa and I, we like to reminisce about all the fun things that happened at Christmas. We love to talk about, what happened with the elves and when he was out there delivering the gifts and all these memories. We'll sit there and reminisce for days about that.
Nice, nice.
Do you guys go on a vacation every year? Where would you go? I think that's even one of my questions. If you could have a vacation home anywhere in the world, where would it be?
A vacation home.
It's okay if it's not Claremont.
Wow. There's so many great places in the world.
Do you like the mountains or the water?
I like both.
Oh, you like both.
I like both.
I guess
Of
Lake
course,
Tahoe.
she's Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
Lake Tahoe would be the place for you.
I would
Mountains.
say, yeah, probably Aspen and Costa Rica, something like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Both beautiful places.
Well, you need to sell that damn sleigh and get a jet.
I
This way
do.
you guys can just jet to
Yes.
where you need to go. Because
We're
the
gonna
sleigh
work on
takes
that.
a
Or
long
at least
time.
get a cover in the sleigh. I'm sure they have upgrades.
Yeah, so we need to get a jet for sure.
I got to wonder, would Santa's nose be as red if he had some sort of a windshield?
Well, yeah, but
All right. Well, it's been great, Mrs. Claus. We know you have to get out of here. I think Ken and I are going to keep going and get into some trouble.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be a long day,
It's
I
going to
can
be
say.
a long day.
Is it beer time yet? No, not yet.
Is it beer 30?
All right, well, thank you for
right.
coming to Mrs. Claus.
Yes, well,
Here's a
thanks
word
for
from
having
one of our
me.
sponsors, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me.
Market your brand and personalize your message. Brand Squad opens doors to new ideas, helping to grow your business with smarter marketing. Thousands of promotional items, thousands of ideas. Turn prospects into customers with Brand Squad's memorable promotional products. Simple marketing, effective results. We do the thinking. You do the winning. Brand Squad, on point with your promotional products. Market your brand and personalize your message. Brand Squad opens doors to new ideas, helping to grow your business with smarter marketing. Thousands of promotional items, thousands of ideas. Turn prospects into customers.
We're almost back, Joe. We are back.
Who's the sponsor?
Today's sponsor is Brand Squad. It's your major source for all things with your logo on it. Brand your company with Brand Squad. You'll find them at brandsquadfl.com. And we're back.
Okay.
Oh, that was a hustle.
See,
Holy
I gave him all
crap.
the hard work. That's typical Joe.
And we can scoot Joe over, too.
We can scoot Joe over. We can scoot Ken over.
There we
We're
go.
all in the
Whoa,
frame
we're back
now.
again,
There
all
we
right.
go. Oh, now I'm comfortable. Yeah, that table leg right in the middle is kind of...
Yeah, you got to be careful. You definitely don't want to sit there with no pants on. Joe, that was pretty exciting.
That was pretty exciting.
Yeah,
that was cool. That
Mrs.
was cool.
Claus in, and I thought it was awesome. I thought she was great to, take time out of her day to come hang out with us because, we just, who doesn't like Christmas? And like you said earlier, it's not about gifts. The best gifts that you ever get for Christmas are those friendships and that family that you get to spend time with. So really, that's really the most important.
And, I want to give a great big shout out to Regina again because she kind of coordinated this for us because she is such a good friend of Mrs. Claus and took time out of her busy day. We didn't actually get a chance to bring Regina on camera, but she was out there keeping the driver of the sleigh occupied and making sure. As a matter of fact, Regina was out there doing this when we were coming up to time. So we want to say thank you, Regina. And another great realtor in the area. And look, if you're thinking of buying or selling a house, you are leaving money on the table if you're not using a realtor. I just, and that's not a salesy thing I say just because I'm a realtor. it's true. The numbers prove it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that if your house sells, if you go FISBO and you get 10 offers and your house, you've only had a sign in front of your house for half a day, you didn't ask for enough money.
Right, or the opposite. Your house sits forever at a price that you put down that may not be the going price or the market price, and you keep lowering it, and then before you know it, you're lower than what you should be selling for because you don't have a realtor. So
because a realtor has all the channels and all the tools to market your house, to expose your house to all the people it needs to get exposed to.
Correct.
I was actually telling this to somebody the other day, and this is kind of true in sales. Whenever you're selling something, people in our business talk a lot about, how many people are going to view it, and then how many offers did I get? It doesn't matter how many offers you get, because only one is going to buy.
Only one buyer. That's
only
it.
One buyer. So you got to be able to get it in front of that one buyer, and you got to know how to price a house so that it gets the proper showings. Because I know people go, oh, I get all these showings. Well, if all your showings are to the nosy neighbors, that's not doing you any good at all.
Right. I mean that's a good point. You know, in today's world, you don't want strangers coming into your house. And one thing that a realtor will do, a good realtor will do, is make sure that anybody coming to view your home is pre-qualified to purchase the home. Because otherwise, they're spinning their wheels, you're wasting your time, and so on. So that's a good reason why you want a realtor also, to make sure that they are pre-qualified, those potential buyers.
All that to say that as much as Ken and I would like you to work with us, Regina is also another quality realtor in the area. If you feel comfortable, if you don't want to work with a man, if you just want to work with a woman, we have Lisa. Lisa's also a realtor. But and you have to, you should talk to a couple of realtors. I don't even like the idea of interview them, but talk to a few. Whose vibe do you like? We're all not created equal. I mean, in the eyes of God, we're created equal, right? In the eyes of the Constitution, we're all created equal. Supposedly with the Constitution. But the reality is we all have different vibes. We all do things differently. We all have different methods and techniques that you need to be comfortable with. You want a realtor you're going to use for the next 20 years, not for the next transaction.
Correct. And I think that's where people lose sight, even in business, is wherever you do business, especially when you do business locally, it's always a repeat process. You're developing a relationship with that business person, whether it's the dry cleaner that you go to, or the printer that you go to, or the local farmer's market that you go to. It's about building relationships, whether it's real estate or anything else. And you want to be comfortable, especially with the largest sale or purchase that you're ever going to make in real estate.
Yeah. It happens to people all the time. I've actually had just in my last two transactions, it was two buyers in two completely different price ranges. One is very high. One was a reasonable mid-range house. And they were both very nervous. And I had to tell them, you're literally making the largest purchase you've ever made. I would be nervous if you weren't.
Right. Exactly.
There'd be something to worry about. Well, look, that was a little bit of a rabbit trail just to say we really appreciate our friend Regina coming on out. I think the sleigh's taking off, right?
Yep. There she goes.
I never noticed sparks came out of the back of that.
That's pretty cool. Must be turbocharged.
It must be. But I just don't understand that windshield thing, man. My face.
Woo.
Woo.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. There's been so much going on in South Lake the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I mean, I was up at 7:00 on a Saturday morning to be in a parade.
Aren't you tired? Right?
I'm exhausted. I was in the parade. Lisa was the flockers were out, and Santa was out, and there were horses in the parade. It was just it's so magical in Claremont, South Lake at this time of year. It really is. They had the big trees, right?
Everybody's doing the light up thing.
I was just looking at my sweater and I realized this is kind of like Freddy Krueger's.
Yeah.
But anyway, but we did light up Claremont was a huge thing.
That's right.
They had caroling, I guess.
And I've been out at the Santa Shack quite a bit with the South Lake business leaders for Christmas across South Lake. There's some great people out there. What's really funny is I had a couple of big closes. I had a really good month in November, and just kind of the way it worked out that this year it was all at the end of the year. And, so I was pretty comfortable coming into December. right?
Bring it on.
Got a nice close in December. And if you're a realtor, a big close in December, you've usually paid all your bills. You've got your plan to pay all your bills for the first 6 months of next year if you planned correctly. So you get this close in December. It's like this cool
Merry Christmas.
corporate Merry Christmas bonus, right? And so I'm like, you know what? For the first time in years, I'm going to take off like the whole week before Christmas, maybe the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Sure.
I'll do a little bit of stuff, but I'll hit the ground running the day after New Year's.
Right.
And wouldn't you know, I don't know who. I was telling my wife last night, I don't know who I was kidding. You know, it has been run. I'm booked all week long. Next week, I've got like 5 appointments.
Wow.
You know, some for the Joe Knows concept, some for the branding and the new show, and some with you to get this rolling, but some with real estate. But it's so much. I'm like, where did all this fantasy time I thought I was going to get?
You know, it's like me. You know, I'm off Thursday through Monday, and I have like a million things that I have to get done. It's like I think I'd rather just work and just ease through.
Yeah, you're playing in your head.
Yeah,
You're like, well, okay, I'll work Thursday. Maybe I'll just take Friday off.
I mean, it's just been off the chain. Now, you mentioned to me off camera earlier. You've got big stuff at your house Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Yeah,
what do you got going there?
My kids for the first time in years, because all my kids are grown, right? And Miss Pat and I, we downsized some years ago. We probably downsized too much. We're actually probably going to move. We're looking to move sometime in the spring when our lease is up, because our 800 square foot experiment, it hasn't been a failure, but it's not a success.
800 square feet is a little bit larger than a boxing ring.
It is. It is not much space. But we made it live. We actually have a great, we live in a nice neighborhood. We're behind Claremont Elementary School. We have a nice yard and a big screen porch, which has helped a lot. You know, I now know how to turn a big screen porch into actual living space.
Oh, absolutely.
At least when the weather is right. But because of that, Christmas for us for the last 4 or 5 years has been, and my kids have been getting married, having kids of their own. So there's a lot of, they're in that space where they want to start having their own traditions. And so we've traveled. So this year we've got all the kids coming, all the grandkids coming. We're really kind of excited. But it's a juggle to make, okay, I'm going to move this here. And I'm going to move that
have people
there.
everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, I figured out how we can get 10 chairs in the living room. It'll be a little tight, but it's only tight because we have the tree. Right?
Yeah.
So
we put a tree up, half the house is full.
That's right.
It's like monkeys in a zoo.
It's like, okay, some of you we bought some of those little chairs for kids. You know, the little Adirondack chairs that are just their size. So we're going to set them in front of the tree, and it's going to be a good time. A lot of good memories.
Nice.
I'm really excited for it. You know?
Nice.
And our house is a very peaceful house.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't drink just because of my past, and Pat can enjoy it. She's like Mrs. Claus, whatever you're
served.
drinking, she'll have a glass of. But none of my kids, probably because of my past, no one in my immediate family drinks to excess. For us, that's not what the holidays are about.
Sure.
When my kids were coming up, our thing wasn't sports. It was we'd set up a buffet of food, and then we'd watch movies all day. And usually Santa would bring a few movies on Christmas. So we had 3 or 4 movies to sit and plow into, you know.
Well, you see, you're lucky because a lot of families start drinking the day before because they have family coming. So, I mean, we've kind of set a tradition to do Christmas Eve at our home. So that's what we like to do. And so I'll give a shout out. But Lisa had this idea. She's cooking prime rib. Wants to do prime rib. Then once we counted the number of heads, she was like, that's 2 prime ribs.
Yeah.
And she started to worry a lot. So I said, you know what? I got a guy. So last year, we was the first year that we ever catered dinner in. Mm-hmm. And it was fantastic. So I said, I got a guy. So I called my good friend Frank, who runs Goombas here in town.
Oh, yeah, I love Frank.
So Frank catered Christmas last year for us. And he's catering Christmas again this year for us. And you know what? I'll tell you this, and I'm sure, Joe, you can relate to this, that it's almost the same price to cater dinner in as it is to try to cook all of these things.
You know, it's so cool you bring that up because when the pandemic first hit, Easter happened. and I was quarantined because I had some health issues. So I was quarantined. I'm really like, did not want to leave. Did not want to let my wife go to the store because of my immune issues at the time. And so we're like, what are we going to do? But we wanted to bring our kids in. So a couple of our kids joined us for Easter. That year, Cracker Barrel, our friends over at Cracker Barrel, had a great holiday special. And I think it was, at the time, it was really cheap because restaurants were selling a lot. The big chains were like giving you some deep discounts. But it was a ham. I think we had ham and turkey, or I believe that's what it was.
Probably the two standards and the stuffing and all that.
But they had, they had 4 side dishes. No, 2 side dishes with each one and a pie. And that was like $50.
Sure.
And so Patty and I bought 2 because I was like, well, I'll have enough to send home with the kids. So that was like $100. But you're right.
Yeah, I mean, the price of a turkey today, I think is like what, $60 or $80.
So we went out
to sell a kid to get one.
Yeah, we've checked that into it, and the price has gone up quite a bit.
Right.
But this year they have they've added a roast beef to it, right? And it's I think it's a 5-pound roast beef, and in my house that's enough to feed us for maybe one meal with no leftovers. And I'm a leftover guy. I mean, can you tell? I gotta have some leftovers. But we doubled down because it'll give us enough. It gives us 4 sides, but everybody comes. But you're right.
Yeah.
And so total cost is like $300, which sounds like a lot. But if you go out to buy the groceries to feed 12 people, it's $300.
Yeah, you make a pan of lasagna and you need all that cheese, and that's expensive, and ham and turkey.
And I'll tell you, the other thing you end up with though is that half a package of something that sits in your fridge because you're going to use it, but you don't.
Correct.
And it goes bad and you throw it away. So I got to figure if I'm going to spend the $300 and I'm only really getting dinner and some leftovers, I might as well pay somebody else to cook it.
Look, I agree. I mean, unless you love to cook, but when you have a lot of people, it's just more convenient. And from a price standpoint, I mean, Goomba's catering prices are, I felt they were very inexpensive. They were charging about $100 for chicken marsala to feed 18 to 20 people. So that's like $5 a person to feed somebody for dinner.
With salad or something?
Comes with penne, comes with a salad, garlic knots.
You can't beat that all day. You can't go to the restaurant and buy that.
Right. And what I love about Frank at Goomba's is every single year I go to Frank for my rainbow cookies. And if you've never had New York style rainbow cookies, you've got to go to Goomba's and try a few of those because they are absolutely fantastic. And I buy 2 or 3 pounds of them, and nobody likes them except me, which is great. So I have enough milk in the house.
One of the things I like about Goombas, though, is that all of that stuff, their Italian cookies and all that kind of stuff, all that extra stuff that they sell, it actually comes from New York.
It does come from New York.
Let's face it. New York and Chicago are the Italian meccas of the United States.
That is right.
And they're great down there. I just love them. And again, it's that buy local.
Yeah. Buy local,
shop local. You're supporting a family who supports other families. And I think that's, sometimes people miss that. Is that okay, so even if you get the couple that owns a shop and just they're the only 2 that works in there, hardly ever happens, but even if it's that people, those people are still paying somebody to come clean. They're paying somebody to go make deliveries. They're paying somebody to do their groceries and do their supplies. Somebody's cleaning their stuff. Somebody's cleaning their house. When you buy and shop local, I mean, when I spend money at Walmart, they're employing people, but most of that money is leaving.
That's correct.
Okay.
Other than minimum wage.
Wage, But when you spend money at a locally owned shop, restaurant, whatever, that money is staying, except for supplies. And even in that case, some of those supply monies are staying here. Except for supplies, they're going somewhere else.
Right, absolutely.
They're staying in the community, We have a thing in real estate that a lot of people miss, and people are always shocked at this number. But for every house that's purchased, 7 jobs are created. And I had somebody say to me once, I said, no. That's after somebody purchases the house and moves in.
Sure.
That's a new family in a house creating 7 jobs just because I should probably stop hitting the table with the microphone.
Right? No. That's a strong table, though, Joe.
It's a strong table. I'm worried about the sound.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that because you figure the median income in Claremont is what? I don't know what the number is, but let's say it's $50,000 as a number. That's $50,000.
South Lake average is $55,000.
Okay, so $55,000. So every family that moves to South Lake will bring $55,000 worth of capital to spend in South Lake. I know you have your electric bill and your cable bill, phone bill, but all the other things that you need, you do in South Lake.
This is why we talk so much about initiatives for local workforce and affordable housing. Not Section 8, not houses to attract, people on welfare, although they need housing too, but housing that will allow somebody who makes $55,000. People always miss this. Who is this? This actually isn't the Walmart worker. It's our cops, our nurses, our firefighters, our teachers. These
all
are
our first responders, teachers,
all the people we need
Yeah.
in the community. We don't want them driving over from
Correct.
County. Oh, hang on.
Somebody's
You
calling
talk.
Santa Claus. That's right. We've got multiple cameras going. We don't know what the hell is going on here. We actually need a Lisa's usually here to control all this stuff, but that's okay. And anyway, like Joe said, there's a lot going on in town all month long. Talking about shopping local, I've always gotten my Christmas trees at Kim's Cabbage Patch ever since I can remember. And this year, I go to Kim's Cabbage Patch, and the day that we went was right after Thanksgiving, I believe, and there were very few trees out. But the owner, Dustin Lowe, came up to me and said, "Hey, Ken, we've got a ton of trees coming out first thing tomorrow. If you come by about 11 o'clock, the lot will be full of trees." And that's something that a corporate person's not going to tell you. This is somebody that's in the community that said, "Hey, come back tomorrow, we'll take care of you." And Lisa and I came back on Saturday, found a gorgeous tree, and the house looks great, it smells great, and all part of shopping local. And so that's why it's so huge to do that. My headphones actually fall off my head because my rainbow ears are in my head. Oh, look at this. We got a dog here. We got a special guest come in. What?
Is that okay?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you can bring him in. That's fine. Any dog craps on the floor that you got to clean up.
Okay, well, she won't do that.
Hey,
She's
Patty,
good.
how are you?
I'm good.
Did you want to come on the show?
Absolutely not.
Oh, jeez. Well, we just got surprised by Joe's wife, and looks like one of Joe's daughters. not a adopted daughter. Adopted daughter. What's her name?
Sweetie.
What's her name?
Sweetie.
Sweetie. Sweetie, you want to come on camera? Want to come on camera? Come on, Sweetie. Go by Daddy. Maybe Daddy can put you on camera.
This is Sweetie. Don't call me Daddy. She's a freak.
Come here, Sweetie.
Come here. Come
girl.
on, baby.
She don't know where she can't see you because the table's in the way, Joe.
No. Here, come on. Come on. You want to come up? Come on. She don't know what she's doing. Here we go. Here's Sweetie.
Everybody say hi to Sweetie. We always like to have a pet in the house.
I can tell you what, Ken. She growls at every single man.
Really?
Sweetie was a rescue, and we found out that Sweetie was. Our thoughts are that she was abused physically by a man because she doesn't warm up to them very much. Okay.
Yeah, she bites me. And
she doesn't bite. She will growl.
And it shows off the air.
She will growl, but she was actually somebody moved. I mean, she's a perfect realtor's rescue. Somebody moved and left her there.
Hi, baby.
And apparently that happens a lot. I was surprised.
I've heard that people will move and leave their pets in the house.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. So she's still, of course, we have one of these.
She got a nice...
Please take my dignity away scarves. They're dogs. Stop dressing them like people.
Oh, she's sweet. She has a little snowflake bandana on, and she's like, my mama don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be on camera. What the hell's going on here? Why are there no biscuits on this table?
Anyways, she is my wife's fur baby. I don't like her very much.
She looks thrilled to be here.
I'm going to let you go. Let's
Oh,
go
there
see
she
Mama.
goes.
Now she'll run away.
Oh.
There you go. You made me do something I don't want to do, so I'll go do what I'm supposed to do.
We're having an issue with a lot of our female guests.
Yes,
they want
that's
to come and
right.
go real quick.
That's right. Come and go. Get the heck
Boy,
out.
oh boy.
Hey, I wanted to ask, is your favorite Christmas memory?
Wow. You, you know, Lisa and I talk about this all the time, and I have 3 younger siblings, so really the only Christmas memory that sticks in my mind all of these years later is every single Christmas since I can remember, and again, this for us, my father would always say, "Kids, it's going to be a light Christmas." So if you want 100% honest, that's my honest answer. So every year it was a light Christmas. I'm like, Dad, don't you have a connection with Santa Claus? I mean, I'm tired of these stupid sweaters and crap that I don't need. Where's my skateboard? Where's my bicycle? Where's my G.I. Joe headquarters? None of that crap showed up. Always light Christmas. Socks, underwear. Why is it everybody's socks and underwear
illegal at Christmas?
Yeah. I think prison term should be set for anyone that gives socks and underwear for Christmas.
That's right.
Although I did get my son socks and underwear for Christmas this year again. But anyway, so that's really that's what I remember. It's going to be a light Christmas. I do remember though one real cool thing. My dad in the early 70s, my parents owned a children's wear store. So they had all of those animatronic
hence the sweaters, right?
hence the sweaters. So they had those animatronic things in their windows. So before my brother Mike was born, and Mike owns a bagel shop in town, Bagel Brothers, we used to have this tree that would snow. It would snow. The snow would come up over the top of the tree, and it would snow down the tree into like this base again. It would snow again, and then when my brother Michael was born, he ruined it because my mother was afraid he would eat that snow. So no longer do we have the snowing tree. But that's another memory that I do have for Christmas. But I will say that I love Christmas as an adult so much more. Watching my kids grow up and open their gifts from Santa and us and having family over, and I like to feed people. And Joe likes to eat, so I'm gonna have to invite Joe over to eat. Yeah. So we love to feed people, but I always love seeing my kids' expressions, over the years, and that's those are the great memories, Joe.
It's really funny because I feel the same way. It's that, I mean, we had some good Christmases and bad Christmases for a lot of years. But that was actually, it's funny you said that because my kids were growing up. That was kind of always my kids. Look, I mean,
right.
We're going to make Christmas is going to happen, but all your rich friends are going to get iPads and you ain't. But we still managed to, and we were always I knew people that thought quality over quantity. But I can remember being a kid and getting like 2 gifts, 3 gifts, and that's, you're just sitting there kind of, is it over already?
Yeah, you'd rather have like 20 crappy gifts than like 2 good gifts.
Exactly.
Like, as a kid, and
it was always, and as a parent, and of course that gets harder as they get older, because they don't really care about, the dollar, well now it's like $2.99 bag of Little Army Men, which you could get. One of my kids, Patty and I have a joke that there is a bag for years there was a bag of Army Men or a dolly in every stocking, boy and girl appropriate.
Right.
One of my kids, when he got ready to leave for college, he had like 12 bags of Army Men, had never been home. I was like, if I'd known about this, I could have recycled.
Sure. I did have one Christmas as a kid where I almost burned down a Christmas tree.
Oh,
so, my parents got me this train that went in a circle around a tree. And they have these little, I guess, power packs. And I left it on, and we went upstairs to my parents' bedroom for Christmas morning. And all of a sudden, we smell smoke and throughout the house. And, of course, my train caught fire. The tree almost caught fire, and that was the end of Christmas that year. It's like there my train set, come and gone in a matter of moments. So.
But when the kids were growing, that was always a big thing for me. I wanted the kids to come and see a full Christmas tree. And what's really kind of cool is Patty and I try to support organizations like Christmas Across South Lake because my viewers know my past. For those of you who don't know, Joe has a past from 20 years ago. I'm a convicted felon. I used to be a drug addict. But there was a year right after I got out of jail and rehab that Christmas was going to be light. I didn't have
Sure.
a job. You know,
Yeah.
we were doing everything we could just to keep the lights on and the rent paid, and to feed them. And,
Sometimes that's the most important thing. Anyway.
and
I mean,
and we were going to I would have to go to like a food bank, and that meant Christmas dinner itself wasn't all that grand because I had to stretch the food till the next time I could go to the food bank. And there was a church that literally adopted us, and for probably 2 weeks, every time Patty and we would go out to work and we would come home, and there'd be literally a huge 3-foot bag of presents left at our doorstep.
Sure.
And so that was a really good year because, we had to, and since then, Patty and I have been, since we got stable, we have tried to support others who would do the same thing. And again, there's that spirit of Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's massive.
Santa deliveries don't have to come on Christmas morning.
No, no. I think the gift of giving should be year round, whenever you can, whatever you can. Whether it's donating at church or I guess the most important thing with giving, Joe, really is you don't have to have money to give. You don't have to have material things to give. If you can give a little bit of time, that sometimes helps tremendously. Like Santa Shack. Now I haven't been out to Santa Shack just because I got a million other things going on because everybody wants their Christmas cards this year. So here we are. But
hang on. But in Ken's defense, he was there a bunch last year.
Yeah.
I remember when
I try to do as much as I can, throughout, all these other things and favors and helping everybody out. But the Santa Shack, how many toys came in this year for that? Wasn't it like 2,000?
Oh, we're. I think it's far more than that. I think we're approaching 10,000.
I mean, there were like hundreds of bicycles.
Yeah,
bicycles.
Yes.
And you may not be able to donate a bicycle. But if you could help put together a bicycle, that is a tremendous gift that you can give to the community.
That's such a great point because even in those times where I didn't have a job, right, but I wanted to tithe. Okay, I believe in tithing.
Sure.
Because I'm a born again Christian. I'm a man of faith, and so I believe in tithing. When I didn't have money to tithe, and I know people say that's crazy, but that's a show for another day.
Right.
I tithed my time.
Yes.
I figured out how much time I spent working and messing around and wasting time, and I figured out that 6 to 10 hours a week was what I could donate back to the church. And so I did that. I found ways to do
Absolutely.
that. Whether it was cooking a meal or
serving a meal or
teaching a class or whatever it was giving back. And I consider that my tithe. And if you believe in God, God rewarded me for that. He brought me to a place where I can give money now at certain times. And Patty and I have certain special projects we don't just do here in the community, but we do others with other organizations we support, right? That require time and money. But I have found that I have never missed money that I have given with the right heart condition.
I would believe that's most people. If you give money, I think that you don't really miss it because I don't think that you do without, and I think like you said, we get rewarded in other ways.
Right.
Right. And so sorry if I keep peeking out the Santa store here, but sometimes the elves are up front and I got to deal with them and get them back to the workshop. So that's why I keep peeking out the workshop here. But yeah, I think overall, giving of yourself. I know we've all been wronged by people and situations and things like that, but you have to dig deep within yourself because when you do something good for somebody, the feeling that you get will always be amazing, and it's not to pat yourself on the back or anything like that, but I think sometimes somebody out there is looking down on you and knows you did a good thing, and so somehow you make it feel good that you did that.
It's really funny. Patty and I, now for 15 years, we have a Christmas project that we do every year It's something that's very directed and structured that we do. We don't do it through an organization. We have some help to do it through some other folks to get it accomplished. And so basically we adopt a family, and so we have some, I don't want to say conditions, but we have some parameters we look for. Right. We like them to have kids. We like them to be in a certain place in life. I don't want to be handing a bunch of Christmas money to a drug addict.
Sure.
So we have some parameters. And I have ways to figure that out because I work in that field and have a history.
Right.
And every year when Christmas starts to approach and I start to wonder, are we going to do this year? Am I wasting my time? Have I really helped anybody? I will invariably get a phone call, or my wife will get a message on Facebook, a DM, or somebody will post a previous picture, and they will go, one of the families we've done in the years, and we've done 15, 20 families at this point in the last 15 years. And we will get, and they will talk about how, somebody did that, because one of our requirements is you can't tell anybody we did it. Obviously it's happening because your circle knows suddenly you came up with the ability to do Christmas. But our two requirements are, you have to give God the credit, and you can't tell anybody it was us. And our hope is you'll pay it forward when you come to that time. But every time I start feeling like it's a waste of time, I get inundated with these messages from God that
subliminal messages come in.
But that it made a difference in somebody's life, that they were about to lose hope when it happened, or you find out later that their child was like cancer type sick, and you provided Christmas and you didn't know that they were facing something like that, so they were so distracted they never would have done Christmas. And I'd like to think that those are just the immediate rewards. I mean, what about 20 years from now? I'm dying to be like 75 and hear the testimony from someone who's 25 who comes up and says, I remember that Christmas.
I remember that gift.
Yeah, my dad tells that story, right?
Yeah, no, I can't agree more. I think that my brother Michael always says, give whatever you want, do whatever you want, but you have to do these things with no expectations.
Right, yeah, that's the important thing. When you give, it's going to be true giving.
Yeah. You can't give with the expectation that I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Of course, we all want to believe in karma, and I do. I believe that if you do good deeds, hopefully a good deed will come your way.
Yeah.
Whatever that deed may be. Maybe it would be, you left the house 5 minutes later because you double checked the door and there was a horrific car wreck, right where you would have been. I mean, sometimes it's those weird things that happen.
I call that one of God's universal laws.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Sooner or later. Let's face it, Christmas, and I without getting on a soapbox, without Christ, there would be no Christmas.
True.
Okay? I mean, it's what it's all about. And I try to get people to understand that it's about this gift that he gave. This Christmas is about the gift God gave, right? And whether you're a believer or not, the concept is God gave his only begotten son, the only son he sent to earth, he gave to us. Because 33 years and 3 months later, for those of you who are historians, and I know it wasn't exactly 3 months and we don't celebrate the exact day. I get it, okay? But 33 years and 3 months later, 4 months later, he was to die on a cross. And that was a gift. The Son gave us a gift that the Father gave him. And that without expecting anything, I mean, what do you give for that?
Correct.
How do you outgive God? You don't. And it's why I really believe that's why that karma concept exists. That's one of God's universal laws, that you may not see immediate response, but there is. My oldest son gave a kidney when he was 25 to another guy who was 30. And, that's scary, man.
Sure. Especially the way I drink sometimes. You're
a young, healthy, single guy, and you're going to give up a kidney to a guy who, who's about to die. I mean, the guy was 30 years old, stage 5 kidney disease, and had a child who was 2 or 3 at the time. I mean, he was going to die, and everything that his wife or the child was ever going to dream about would be gone.
Sure.
Now that was, let me see, my son's 2. That was 8 years ago. Most kidney transplants only last 5 years, and that guy's going strong. And it turns out when they did the transplant, once the doctor got in there and he got all done, apparently when your kidneys only work at like 75% of their capacity, right? So that when you give up a kidney, the other kidney works. Your body is an amazing thing. It'll work to full capacity, right? To really give you the effective function of 2 kidneys.
Right. Sure.
So then you get, one guy gives up a kidney, 2 men, and end up with the full function of 2. Well, it turns out my son's kidneys were the surgery was a little difficult because once they got in there, they realized his kidneys were 1.5 times larger than the average kidney.
See?
And, so this guy's like terribly healthy. He's been off his rejection meds for like 4 years, which almost never happens, And I can remember my son who had to struggle because he basically, I remember the doctor describing this as, we're going to injure one person to make another person healthy.
Sure.
So he's going to feel better immediately, but we just removed an organ from you. You're going to feel like crap.
Right.
And there was some of that. And that first year it was like, he really felt he struggled with a lot of things. And I remember saying, oh, son, you didn't think God was going to like throw you back. I mean, what, do you think you're going to win the lottery because you gave up a kidney, right? And he didn't, but, he was young. But here's the other side of it is he's healthy. It pushed him into the medical field. He's more careful. He never really struggled with drinking too much because he only has one kidney.
Right.
He's more careful about some things, and but that spirit led him to the wife he has, who will define what kind of father he is. And it's actually part of that universal law that you get back many, many times what you give, and if you give of your time, you may not see it in 10 minutes. I mean, it's not like putting a dime in a slot machine and you get back a bunch of stuff, but over the course of time, and I found that to be true in my own life, that anytime I give freely with no expectation of return, over the course of time, I go, oh, wow, man, I caught that break, and I caught that break.
Well, I think it's a mindset, because by giving, you have this sense of calmness that because you've done something for somebody somehow. I think that sense of calmness just creates a different dynamic, really. And giving's not about gifts, and to give life and help life is amazing, but give the gift of hope, give the gift of kindness.
See, that's so much
supportive. Don't be divisive. I mean, there's no reason to be divisive. I mean, at 57 years old, I've never seen such divisiveness where people are you're ending a relationship because you're a Democrat and I'm a Republican, and I've never seen anything like the divisiveness that we see, and everything that we see is about racism and all of these things, and I've never seen so much of it that I see today. And all we have to do is just be kind to one another and be respectful of one another. It's one thing to trash talk your friend's football team or baseball team, but when you go beyond that, what are you doing? What purpose are you serving? And
again, it comes back to that, as Mrs. Claus said, kindness and respect. I don't agree with everybody. As a matter of fact,
you don't have to.
There's a bunch of people I don't agree with, but I try to respect their opinion. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. But the whole reason I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, people today, actually, I get into this discussion usually around election time. If you know me, you might figure out how I vote,
right?
But I'm never going to tell you.
Correct.
Because it's a secret ballot.
Right.
It's the power that we wield in this country is the power of the secret ballot. Soviet Russia, China, Venezuela. These guys all have elections. It's just not secret.
Right. Not legit.
It's not legit. And that is but part of that Christmas is why I like Christmas so much. Because it should be that one time that none of that matters.
Right.
I mean, I like to think that at least in America, it used to be in the world, but at least in America, and this is why I don't like the demonization of Christianity or any other religion.
Right.
Okay? I mean, and Christians can do this. That I remember hearing a joke once about how Christians are the only army that will try to kill the other guy in the foxhole with them. Right? But when you demonize somebody else's faith, you're really starting to eat at who they are in their core. And I may not agree with your faith, but it doesn't mean that you are not worthy of respect. Obviously, you have that faith for a reason, So if we want to talk about the differences, I need to start with this. Why I like people. It's why this is so good for me, because I always want the story.
Sure.
Okay, you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Catholic. Why? What is it about that?
Right.
Do you think you should know? So many of us have a faith because our parents were.
Right.
Which is cool until you're about 18, 19 years old. And at that point, I want to start asking people, well, don't you think it's now incumbent upon you to actually learn a little bit? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think we all have to go down, our own path. I mean, just how it is. But, we are getting late.
Yeah, what time? How long?
So why don't we close up?
See, we need a timer.
I know.
Actually, I want to share one memory.
Yeah.
I asked you what your favorite Christmas memory was, and I have two Christmas memories. One is my favorite Christmas memory, and one is my most vivid Christmas memory.
Okay.
They're not the same. They're not the same Christmas. My favorite Christmas memory. I was in the Marine Corps. I had just been promoted to sergeant, and I had to be non-commissioned officer of the day. It made sense because all the other guys in my platoon, they were all married and they had kids and families. If one guy was going to stay on base and do the duty, I actually volunteered to do it for 2 days in a row, to do the day of and the day after Christmas, right? Because it fell on a weekend.
Right.
So I'm sitting at the desk, and I was only 19 years old, 20 years old, so I'm not too far away from my family Christmases, and I was just about to start missing my family. I'd just gone to the chow hall and eaten a bunch, and of course they tried, but it's
Right.
flat. There's some dressing.
Yeah, fix that.
You're not getting anybody in a hat and a reindeer suit saying "Merry Christmas, dude," because they're all mad they're on base, right? They got no place to go. So, anyways, we get back from lunch, and I'm sitting there, and this guy walked in, and I wasn't even really that close to him. He wasn't actually a friend of mine. He was just a guy, and he walked in. He had his two sons and his father-in-law with him, and like his brother-in-law and his sister-in-law, and they walked in because we're in the front of the barracks. And of course, I'm old school. That's back when we had like 80 guys in a room barracks, not private.
Right, semi-private areas.
Semi-private areas. And they were carrying this box, and in the box was Christmas dinner. And the guy said to me, we just really appreciate, we actually cooked extra so we could bring some to you. And I mean, there was a bunch of stuff there from the South. There was a bunch of stuff I wasn't used to eating. It was the best tasting Christmas dinner I ever had. And I really, really did. Even though I had already eaten like 30 minutes earlier, I ate every bit of food on that plate. But it was because there was just something about, again, that Christmas spirit. It's this guy left his house Christmas Day to make sure Joe, the guy that volunteered, had a real Christmas dinner. Not just the chow hall Christmas.
Right, nice.
And brought his father-in-law and his sister-in-law and his kids and just, we all loved and joked and
And it was Christmas.
It was Christmas. It was a little slice of Christmas. My most vivid memory is the following year.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in Beirut.
And
Beirut was let's just say it wasn't pleasant.
I think it still is the same day.
It still is. And, we were subject to, there was a lot of fighting in the city. Sun would set. You could see the tracers and the explosions because they were fighting each other, not just us. We were getting like daily bombardments, right? It's Christmas Eve. and midnight hits, and there's a pitched battle, like the whole city is lit up. There's a pitched battle going on. Midnight hit, it went dead silent.
Wow.
For the rest of the night.
Wow.
And I mean, we're talking, these weren't Christians fighting. These were...
It's a war zone.
Of Muslims.
Right. Wow.
It was Muslim factions fighting each other. But they had respect for the concept of Christmas. And I've always thought, and of course, the shelling, they stopped shelling us. And a lot of times, we weren't just getting shelled, but we were like getting, we got hit by accident, But it was the coolest thing because it was like the next 2 days were silent. It was great. We might have had a pop here or a pop there, but it was not the daily go sit in a hole and
right.
Pray. And I like to share those because so often we forget in the getting wrapped up in all the million things we have to do about how rough our life is, to remind people that there are people that don't have it as good as you. There are kids out there this year who are not going to have Christmas. And there are young men and women on the pointy end of the spear. Even though we're no longer in Afghanistan, there's still people on the pointy end of the spear. And they're going to be lucky if they get a slice of cold turkey.
Right. Wow.
So as we close, let's encourage people to remember those guys and pray for them. And, whether you believe or not, have a good thought towards them and do what you can.
There you go. I'm gonna let Joe actually close us out, but since it's Joe and me out here, I'm gonna hit on politics, religion, and race.
Okay,
and
I'm ready.
and to be racist. You know what? If you want to be racist, love the human race. It's not about color. It's not about religion. It's not about wealth. It's not about politics. It's about your fellow human beings. And yes, I know this is the holiday season, so we feel a little bit kinder to people, but we should be a little bit kinder every day that we get to wake up, breathe in the air, and know that we're on this side of the grass and not the other side. So with that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Love you all. We'll see you next year. And Joe, close us out, please.
Well, I'm just going to say I agree with everything my friend just said. I want to say Merry, Merry Christmas. I also want to encourage you, keep an eye out for what we're doing. Joe, Cup of Joe is going to be on Joe Knows South Lake Monday through Friday. I'm trying for 8:30 in the morning. I haven't managed it yet, but by January, I will have a structure in place. And we will be coming to you from different businesses around the Claremont and South Lake area. Also, I would like to say, keep an eye out. Ken and I are going to do a regular unified podcast. We're still trying to figure out
logistics and things and what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, but we're gonna try to figure it, and we may talk about nothing at all. We may solve the world's problems. Right. It is going to be some hybrid of Tiki Hut and Joe Knows. We may call it that. We may call it something completely different. Keep an eye out for us. We are going to be regular, weekly. I don't know if we're going to do seasons or just try to go hardcore.
We just may do show by show and see how it plays out. But
but keep an eye out for it, because this is really going to be what we like to think is going to be the next great thing to come out of South Lake County and Claremont. So I love you. You know I love you. Please love, like, and share. Keep the messages coming. Share the love with it. And by share the love, I don't necessarily mean social media. Share the love with everybody you know. And remember, we're all human, and we should keep it that way. Anyways, I love you.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas. I'll see you later.